Friends, this story is from the time when war was raging everywhere. During this, we see some girls living in a school who were all alone there. But these girls' lives change when one of them brings a man there. So the story begins, and we are shown the year 1861. We see the city of Virginia, where the Civil War was happening. In the middle of it, there's a girls' school run by a teacher named Miss Rosewood. We see that by 1864, because of the ongoing Civil War, all the students and most teachers had left the school and gone home. But Miss Rosewood and another teacher, Miss Harper, stayed at the school with 5 girls. Then, we see a girl named Maya, who goes into the forest to pick mushrooms for everyone's dinner. But while she's picking mushrooms, she suddenly sees a man sitting injured underneath a tree. Seeing him, Maya gets scared because he was from the enemy side, but the man says, "My name is Edward, and the enemy forces have taken over our area. I'm hiding from them to save myself." Seeing Edward's condition, Maya feels pity for him and brings him with her. But just as they reach the school, Edward faints. Upon seeing him, all the girls and teachers gather and scold Maya. "I sent you to pick mushrooms. What did you bring back?" But Maya says that he was lying injured there, so she brought him with her to help. Now, seeing this man, all the girls start to wonder if it is right to help him, because only girls live at the school, and if this man's intentions change, he might cause them harm. Still, they can't just leave him there, so they all bring him inside. They take him upstairs, where Miss Rosewood treats his wounds and bandages him. Then they lock him in the room, and Miss Rosewood tells the students that until he is well, they will take care of him, and then, after he gets well, we will hand him over to our side. But till then, none of you girls will go near the man. Hearing this, all the girls leave from there. But as soon as they leave, Miss Rosewood quietly goes into Edward's room and pulls down his pants to clean his wound. Now, seeing Edward's horse, Miss Rosewood starts feeling desire, but then somehow controls herself. Here, Miss Rosewood wanted to ride his horse, but then she thinks, let it be. One shouldn't take advantage of someone's unconsciousness. Just then, while leaving, Miss Rosewood notices outside that a troop of soldiers from their side has come to patrol the city. Miss Rosewood goes to the gate to meet those soldiers. Now, seeing this, all the girls inside get nervous, thinking, what if this lady tells them about Edward? But Miss Rosewood doesn't tell them anything about him and comes back inside the school. After this, we see that Edward looked tough and burly, and his horse was also quite big. So every day, one by one, all the girls would secretly come into his room just to see it. They would sit with him and talk, which made them feel good too. After this, we see that Miss Rosewood is sitting with all the girls praying. Then, after prayer, she deliberately asks, "Does anyone have any other wish?" On this, Miss Harper says, "Yes, I want Edward to get well soon." Hearing this, Miss Rosewood understands that now even Harper is yearning for Edward's horse. We see that while all the school's girls were fighting amongst themselves to get Edward's horse, both teachers were also desperate for it. After this, we see all the schoolgirls are trying different things to impress Edward. One comes all dressed up in front of him, another brings him delicious dishes, hoping that maybe Edward will get impressed with one of them and make them his mare. After this one day, Miss Rosewood comes into his room. Seeing this, Edward understands that Miss Rosewood is the boss here, and everything goes by her rules, and if I win her over, I'll benefit a lot. Now Edward tries to impress Miss Rosewood. On the other side, Miss Rosewood herself is about to fall for him, but then controls herself. During this, a girl named Flappy Cat comes and asks Miss Rosewood if she can help with anything. Miss Rosewood says, "Go away, I know exactly why you are here." A little while after, Miss Harper also comes into Edward's room. There, that rascal Edward also tries his luck with her. He starts saying dirty, vulgar things to her, and his plan works too, because Miss Harper's cat was already in heat, and she wanted to have a lot of labor. With Edward. So what next? Miss Harper comes to Edward's bed, and they both start working hard together. After this, we see Miss Rosewood, who is praying with all the students, But then Flappy Cat gets up, making the excuse of pee, and goes out, and then goes straight to Edward's room and starts, well, pleasuring him. Now, Edward was enjoying this moment too, so he also starts enjoying the movement. But while she is at it, Flappy Cat remembers that Miss Rosewood must be waiting for her, so she leaves. Afterwards, at night when the girls are having dinner together, all decide that now they will do something new to please Edward. Now, all of them start trying to impress Edward by singing music. But Edward isn't interested in music because he only wants to dig their minds. While all this is going on, suddenly the school door knocks. Miss Rosewood opens the door and sees it's the same soldiers on patrol. They have just come to check if everything is fine, then they leave. Then we see Miss Rosewood sitting with Edward drinking wine and talking about something. But meanwhile, Edward starts to realize that Miss Rosewood is very strong, and if he wants to stay here comfortably, he must win her over. The next day, we see Edward starts doing the gardening work of the school, as he didn't want to leave. After all, why would he go away from a place where there is a line of beautiful girls waiting for him? Why would a man like him leave all this and go back to war? Meanwhile, Miss Rosewood sees Edward's wounds, which have now healed. And since he was totally fine, he couldn't stay here any longer. But then Edward says to Miss Rosewood that he doesn't want to leave, he wants to stay here as the gardener. But Miss Rosewood refuses and says he cannot stay there. Hearing this, Edward thinks he needs to make some other arrangement to stay here. So he goes straight to Miss Harper and proposes to her, telling her, "Darling, I love you very much." Hearing this, Miss Harper becomes very happy, and then the two of them start pleasuring each other. Just then a girl comes in, and their program remains incomplete. Then we see, because it's Edward's last night there and he will be thrown out tomorrow, so tonight everyone together celebrates. After dinner, Edward whispers in Miss Harper's ear that, "Tonight I will come to your room and we will break the bed together." That night, Miss Harper is waiting in her room for Edward. But not just her. Miss Rosewood is also waiting in her room, thinking that tonight Edward will surely come to her. But after waiting a long time, Edward does not go to either. Then Miss Rosewood hears a loud noise from downstairs, so she goes out to check and hears it's coming from Edward's room. As soon as she opens Edward's room door, she sees he had made Flappy Cat his mare and was riding her hard. Seeing this, Miss Rosewood gets very angry and tells Edward to get out. Edward says, "I was just checking her fever." Miss Rosewood says, "Since when does fever get checked this way?" Then she pushes him down the stairs. Edward falls hard and his leg completely breaks. Seeing this, Miss Harper and Miss Rosewood quickly bring him back to the room. But Miss Rosewood says, "I'm not a doctor to fix a broken leg. If we want to save his life, we'll have to cut his leg off." They had to decide fast, because Edward was losing blood quickly. Seeing no other option, they have to cut off his leg. The next morning, as Edward opens his eyes and sees his cut leg, he's frightened 464. He looks at Miss Rosewood with anger and says, "You did this on purpose because I didn't come to save you last night." Now, Edward was crazy with anger, so Miss Rosewood locks him in his room and goes downstairs. After some time, we see Flappy Cat quietly enters Edward's room and asks him, "Did my darling feel pleasure?" Hearing this, Edward gets mad with rage and pulling her by her hair says, "Damn it, I will kill you. Because of you now, we are not safe here anymore. So now, we must hand Edward over to the army." But just then, Edward comes and tells them, "If you idiots try to lock me in the room again, you can't even imagine what I'll do to you." Hearing this, Miss Rosewood tells Flappy Cat, "Quickly, go tie a blue cloth at the gate so the army knows we are in trouble." Flappy Cat runs and is tying the blue cloth at the gate when Edward sees her. After that, he takes all the girls at gunpoint and says, "If you try anything like this again, I will kill all of you." Then he goes back to his room angrily. Now, Miss Harper thinks that maybe Edward just needs physical satisfaction. That's why he's behaving like this. So she goes to his room to give him pleasure and locks the room from inside. Over there, Miss Rosewood tries to stop her and shouts, "Don't do this!" But by now, Harper's desire had already crossed the limits, so she goes to Edward and hugs him. Edward, too, was enjoying it, so he does the same with her. Seeing this, Miss Rosewood becomes mad with anger and thinks, "This Edward needs to be finished off." Meanwhile, someone suggests putting poison in his food, and Miss Rosewood thinks this is a good idea. Then, Maya goes into the forest and brings back poisonous mushrooms. That night, Miss Rosewood invites Edward to dinner, but Edward is suspicious and asks Harper to eat the mushrooms too. But one of the girls says, "No, Miss Harper is allergic to mushrooms." Edward believes her and eats the mushrooms alone. Shortly after, we see that because of eating the poisonous mushrooms, he immediately collapses and dies of suffocation. After this, they tie a blue cloth to the school gate and wrap Edward's body in a shroud and leave it at the door so that the army can come and take his body away. After this, we see Miss Harper is very sad because she wanted to spend her life with Edward. And the thirst of all the other girls also remains unquenched. And with this unsatisfied longing, the story ends here.